Hello, Sonor family. Jules here. Got a new feature we're going to try. I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but we're going to give it a go. Um, I'm going to do some reaction videos, and I'm going to start with this one that I've actually seen this a couple of times now. Once I watched yesterday or today. Had not seen this particular video before. This looks more pro shot than a lot of what I've seen already. Um, And then I've watched it a time or two as I was working through trying to get the process of doing these videos down correctly, and I think I'm about there. So this is potentially one of a number of these things, and what I'll do is like with a lot of reaction videos, if you've got a Sonor artist or particular performance or anything Sonor related that you'd like me to do a reaction to, I will do that. And I'm looking forward to this and hope you enjoy it as much as I think I'm going to enjoy doing it. Quick background, Phil Rudd, he's been like a cat with nine lives with AC/DC. He left in 83. Um, and the official reason was, Angus once stated that you either love the road or you hate it, and he was hating it. And kind of made it seem like it was Phil's decision to leave, which information I've got, that's they're being diplomatic. Phil had some issues going on, and about 11 years ago, it happened again. Some new issues. We're not going to delve into all that because it is so, the information's out there. In no sense beating a dead horse. I get tired of every time I read something about this guy. They go into detail about the stupidity. You know what? If we were all remembered from the dumbest damn thing we ever did, um, there's not going to be much to think about for anybody, right? Um, at any rate, so he played on the last recording, has been absent for the last tour, being replaced by Matt Logg, who to me is doing a fine job of executing the Phil Rudd thing, He doesn't quite have the swing that Phil Rudd did, but who in the world does? I don't know of anybody that can get in there and make a crowd sway like Phil can. And Matt, my hat's really off to him. He's doing a great job as they have gelled over time. They've replaced their bass player as well. Um, as they've gelled over time, it's just gotten better and better, despite the age of the other guys. And I think Matt's doing a fabulous job, just laying it in there. And, I never was a big fan of Chris Slade's contribution to the band. He was trying to be the third star. He had these gestures and his mannerisms were just kind of like, look at me, look at me. And, he never had the groove. He just never did. And I know a lot of people favor him because they said it was more of a hard rock sounding band with Chris. Well, it's not a hard rock band, and that's what I think a lot of people are missing out is Malcolm always said this was rock and roll and always seemed to favor, the swing that Phil has. And even stated, when Malcolm was still alive, that they always had aspirations of getting him back when he was gone that first time because there's just nobody that can really give it that oomph like he does, and that's not a direct quote. That's a kind of a paraphrase there. At any rate, we're going to get to the video. I've got some comments to make about the gear, but we will come back to that, and we're going to listen to this thing kick off and get going.
I've been too long, glad to be back. There's some let loose.
All right, let me actually stop this with him in the frame. Should have thought that out a little better. There we go, good enough. All right, looks like you can't tell it from this angle, but I'm pretty sure that's his tried and true signature hi-hat stand, although that's obviously not the signature hi-hat clutch. Um, I think we're seeing some, let's see. There was one view from one I was watching earlier, and this may still all be the signature hardware that he's had for eons. The snare drum, you can't see it here, but I'm pretty sure it is a standard catalog Phil Rudd model. The snare drum he was using on tour with AC/DC after the release of the Phil Rudd's signature model had hella hoops, not the artist weight hoops like you see here, and that were on the snare drums that I bought and anybody else that bought those. You know, it came standard with what was more or less the artist weight. That's what I refer to it because, to my knowledge, the artist series snare drums are the only snare drums that Sonor has ever produced that had the more generic weight hoops. And I don't assume they're generic hoops. I think they are unique to Sonor. They're just not the Hellas. A few things about the drum set. Those are his designer series toms, the tom tom and the two floor toms from the mid 90s when he rejoined the band. Obviously, it came with a bass drum. Where his bass drum is right now, I just don't know. In 2000, on tour, he had a black designer set that actually went on two world tours. And AC/DC, when they do a world tour, they tour very heavily. So when you've got a drum set that has toured the globe twice, and still in good working order, now it was going to be for sale. It was for sale, or it did sell, whatever the case is. A year and a half or 2 years ago, his partner Tony Wilson was terminally ill with cancer, and I imagine because she was so close to death at the time, as I understood. I'm sure she's passed on by now, but that drum set was going to be sold, auctioned off for proceeds for her, and I don't know what the status of that is. But that is probably a good explanation for why he doesn't have the black designers here. He does have a black SQ2 that does not appear to have a tom mount on it, not the rocket launcher nor the other one they use these days. And so he's actually, despite the fact I know he's got stands for tom, or at least a tom, he's got a snare stand holding up his tom tom, which is unusual. So, that kind of catches us up to speed on a lot of stuff we can see right here, except for the sticks. Back in the mid 90s, back when the Easton Ball Bat Company still made a head drumsticks, Phil was an endorser for them. And I'm not aware of him not using them up till seeing this video and seeing that he's using, I believe it's going to be Pro Mark sticks, and he's not even using a butt end stick, which is unusual because even back in the 70s, his wood sticks were butt end on the left for that snare drum. And speaking of that, his technique is not the same either. He usually has that really wide golf swing, really laying it in there, and he's still got a respectable, bit of force going on that snare drum, but not like what you've seen in past years. The man's 71 years old. He's had a heart attack. He's had some other issues that we know of, and maybe some things we don't know of. He didn't seem very steady on his feet in a video I saw a while back of him approaching and climbing up onto the stage. So, you know, he's not at the peak of his health, obviously. So we're going to give him a pass on the change in technique and using different sticks and all that. But I tell you what I'm liking. He still sounds like Phil. For everything that's gone on, he still sounds rock solid and tight, and I'm liking it. So we'll get back to that. That's a 13 by 13 tom tom, by the way. And as big as it is, I'm quite sure that when he started playing the signature series in the early 80s, and I'm going to do a video on that soon too, I'm pretty sure he had a 14 by 14 tom tom. That Joker was huge. Um, and the signature series was just over the top any kind of way you want to look at it anyway. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there. It was a big tom, but it was not the biggest that I believe he had used. And we'll come back to that another time. Called me crazy, but I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. That looks like the older phonic uh, wing nut right there, does it not? This looks more like looks like the signature, as does this, but that actually looks like the phonic from the 70s. What do you think? Well, I enjoyed that. Hope you did as well. We'll see how the reactions to the reaction is, how the reactions to the reaction are. As incorrect as that sound, that is actually proper. So, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. There's going to be more of this fun crap to come and my normal stuff. Talk to you soon.